Hi, I'm Devora Wilde.
Hi, I'm Ben Starr.
As if by magic.
Wow.
Are you ready?
Yeah. My first experience with Dungeons and Dragons was having some friends who were playing it. So it first kind of came into my consciousness before I ever played it. It was something I was acutely aware of, like as a kid, and it was always something that just seemed on the periphery, something that I didn't have access to, something that just seemed so incredibly impenetrable. You had to have friends for a start. You had to, I had loads of friends, but you had to have friends who wanted to play it. Then it's obviously the organization aspect of it. And then it's the fact that how do you get the stuff? Like, how do you think of it? Like, it just seems something that was so out of my purview, something I was aware of but didn't have access to. And then I just got with a group of friends and we started playing it, and now I have this really amazing campaign that means so much to me with my friends at Natural Six. Most of us were newbies. We have this amazing dungeon master called Harry McIntyre who has come up with this entire world, and kind of a bit like Solasta, really. It's a world that is brewed by people. It's not officially Dungeons and Dragons, but it officially uses the Dungeon and Dragon rule set. And I think that's the versatility of the game. It's that you can take these worlds and then play with these rules in it. And I love it. And Natural Six, they're not just like colleagues, they're friends. And people call it millennial therapy. It is. Characters are self-inserts. You kind of insert a lot of your experiences onto it, and that's what it is. What about you?
I'm probably the opposite. Wait, what age did you start playing?
I started playing 2 years ago.
Well, wait, so then we must have come at it fairly recently together. Because my first mention of Dungeons and Dragons was when I was at university.
Hello.
And hello.
2 years ago.
Exactly. And there was a person in my halls who played D&D. And I was like, what is that? Dungeons and Dragons. And he became known as Dungeons and Dragons. And that was the extent of my knowledge of D&D for many, many years until I started watching Stranger Things. And then that was like the D&D. And I was like, oh, I've heard of that. And then I got cast in Baldur's Gate 3. And then I was like, oh, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. But still very much on the periphery. Baldur's Gate 3 came out and we did our very first live play of Dungeons and Dragons. That was the first time I was like, oh, this is what D&D actually means. Because I think when you're recording a game, I wasn't, especially with Baldur's Gate 3, I wasn't too much into the mechanics of it. I was thinking about the character, as any actor would.
Yeah.
Or just me. I just was not thinking about the mechanics of the game. I was focused on the story and my character, and I didn't really think beyond that. So once we played with High Rollers, I was like, and I got to say, when I first got the character sheet, I was intimidated.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a lot of maths. Don't like maths. Or math for you Americans. Don't like that. And a lot of words on the page. And I was just like, And then once I sat down, I realised it's the DM's job to deal with that. And I don't have to deal with that. It
really is.
And it was so freeing. And I think because I made that realisation very quickly, I was like, oh, I can just role play, which is what actors are great at, and I can let the DM deal with the numbers, and he can tell me what to do or what not to do, and then I can kind of chill. And I think that led to me having a very nice experience. And from then on, it's always been my kind of thing to just sit down at the table and enjoy the ride, and be like, the DM is, the person that kind of sets the tone, sets the story, sets the rules, if you will. And I can push the boundaries as much as I like.
Ripping the Band-Aid off, just going. It actually is an incredibly simple game.
It is.
And it requires imagination and a sense of whimsy and wonder and also play, and it inspires that, and that's why I love it so much. Next question. Don't read it. Oh, this is really cool. This is a follow-on. It's almost like we don't need the question.
Wow.
What resonated most with you about playing D&D initially? It was weird. As an actor, initially, I was very hesitant about the roleplay aspect of it. But actually, the bit that resonated me with the most about Dungeons and Dragons is the infinite freedom. It is ultimate roleplay with rules. And rules that you can break. Just because I have a character sheet doesn't mean I have to play strictly to something. I can role play as the character. Just because I have a spell slot available, I play a wizard, I don't need to use that spell slot. I can use the character and the situation to inform it. Story can inform my choices in battle. When I'm playing a video game sometimes, I feel like I want to min-max. And actually in Dungeons and Dragons, I'm doing the opposite. I like giving myself a minus. It was really fun. You know, you and I played a bit of Solasta and we were building characters. And I love a minus. A minus is way more fun.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge because also it's human. We're not good at everything. And that's what it is actually finding that a nat 1, a critical failure is just as joyful as a nat 20.
Even more so, I would say.
Yeah, I had this amazing moment that I loved in a campaign where I rolled a nat 1 on an insight check with the head of the Council of Equals in Baroon, which is essentially like the highest court of the land. She's like the highest official. And I rolled a nat 1 on an insight check and I thought she fancied me. Because you play the critical failure, which is, it's not nothing, it's something. It's the exact opposite of what she's trying to intend. And it opened up this beautiful moment of role play where I was going, listen, I just don't want to, I don't want to get things personal. And it wasn't me trying to pursue her, as me going, listen, I don't have the time for a relationship right now. And she doesn't want that at all.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful opportunity for us to explore something a little bit more obscure. And even in moments of high tension, rolling a nat 1 can be exciting.
Absolutely.
And we know that we want to be good at something, but actually there is joy in failure as well.
Yeah, and I don't really see D&D as a traditional game in the sense of winning or losing. It's kind of just a role play adventure with some maths thrown in, but at the end, there is no winners or losers. I don't really see it that way. I don't even think about the end game because I know people play campaigns over 30 years or so. So in that sense, it's just kind of having fun with your friends, really.
There's a really cool thing that you can do in the 2024 rules where I love feats now. And so at certain intervals, you can take ability score improvements or you can take, feats. And I really love taking feats because instead of, you can do an ability score. That's great. You can take that and you're going to get, an extra +1 to charisma or a +1 to wisdom or something. But taking a feat is something a little bit more personal to you. It'll be something more flavorful. And I think that's where the play comes, is adding flavor to something. You can make a steak bigger, but can you make it tastier? And I think that's a good way of thinking about it, is like, what seasoning are we adding to this story that makes it interesting? Number doesn't always have to go up.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the game.
And it has many dice.
It does. We've got some here, actually. What's your favorite one?
I'll be honest with you. I think I could get by in a game of D&D just with a couple.
Just a couple?
Just a couple of them.
Just a couple.
I don't really need all,
do you know what?
However many there are.
A D20.
The D20 is a good one. I'd say that's my favourite.
Yes, yeah. Okay, I reckon you could probably get by with a D20, a D6.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you, I think you deserve a D10.
Yeah.
Next question.
I think we're ready for the next question. Okay. What's your most memorable experience with D&D?
So we had a moment. We are in the middle of this incredibly epic fight at the top of this tower, and he manages. We see spectral versions of his deceased parents, his real deceased parents, and these spectral versions. They are servants of this big bad evil, and they're fighting us. And at one point, Doug just went, "Stop, stop." And our amazing DM said, "Roll for it." And he rolled a nat 20. Ooh. The only thing that would have worked is a nat 20. So suddenly these enemies were kind of softened to their version of their son. And he did this unbelievably inspiring roleplay where a spoon that he had carved 4 episodes before, so that is probably about 10 hours earlier, that he'd been whittling away at, he was a spoon carver. He hands it to his parents and he goes, "This is the man I've become."
Oh.
I'm even tearing up now. And like as a person, and I've been quite vocal about this. I lost my dad 4 years ago. It was the most everyone just was absolutely in tears, because what you have is a moment of pure improvisation, pure luck, dice roll, maths, everything coalescing into this one moment. And I was like, wow, this is the catharsis I needed. And I was just there crying, watching someone else perform a scene. No one's there.
Yeah.
It's not real, but it feels real. It feels so accessible. And it was this remarkable moment that resonated with everyone, whether you've lost someone, whether you know someone who's been lost, or whether you just appreciate or can be empathetic in a moment. It was like, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I do this game, because that is magic. No one planned this. This wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
These characters were not meant to sympathize with that. He wasn't meant to roll a D20. He wasn't meant to have carved a spoon. He wasn't, like, this whole series of things. And we had this show afterwards, and I just thanked him for that moment, because I saw a lot of myself, and I can understand why people imprint onto that, and that's why it was massive for me.
And the thing is, you can't plan for that even if you wanted to.
No, I think, and that's what you get with video games, is when you know, we're very lucky to be a part of games, and you've been a part of a few big ones, including this, and it's going to be interesting when someone comes up to us after this game is released and says, I understand that sibling relationship. That made me want to reconnect with my family, whatever those moments are, the frictions that happen between us, or the coming together, or like that familiar relationship that our characters have. That's going to resonate with someone. Not everyone, but someone who appreciates that.
Well, because it's fantasy, but ultimately everything's grounded in reality, and that's why people are so affected by Dungeons and Dragons, video games based around Dungeons and Dragons, and that's such a great illustration of why.
Yeah. So, thanks D&D.
Thanks D&D. We ready for the next question?
Yeah. What type of character would you make, knowing what you know about D&D?
Yeah.
If you were going to make a character now, like, it doesn't have to say kind of what type of flavor would you go for? Would you use it to be escapism?
I would like to be a mythical creature.
Okay. Right.
That can fly.
So you want to be a dragonborn, I feel. I feel like you want to be a dragonborn.
Also kind of like a unicorn.
Okay, so great.
Yeah.
A dragoncorn.
Just something like so far removed.
Yeah. I'm going to say that you would be an amazing dragonborn. I think also playing against type is fun.
Yes.
You know, I think you'd be a bronze-colored dragonborn.
Yeah.
What would your name be? Devora Wilde. Actress at arms. That would be fun. A dragonborn bard.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I feel like if you were going to play D&D, like really, really intense, you would be a bard. You are a charisma build through and through. Your natural instinct is to be very much out there, like putting yourself in situations that you want to control, a lot of crowd control, or a lot of kind of mind control.
Yes.
I think you'd be a great, either a College of Glamour or a College of Whispers bard, dragonborn, called Devora Wilde, Actress at Arms.
I actually do, in our podcast that we have, Dungeons and Dragons and Dramas, I do play an elf. I've just realised, because I knew there was
You actually have a show?
Well, she's actually an elf, and she's she's an actress. You get double meaning there. Yeah. Really sort of plain to type. And she's actually very different to me, and she's called Mags Thatcher. No relation.
Miss her every day.
I know. R.I.P.
Still can't believe she's gone. We recently did a Christmas episode for our show, and the reason I say that is I made a College of Glamour bard called Iris Cornelia Candy Cane Fudge, and she was a 500-year-old elf who basically founded Las Vegas, and so she would, and she was just like, darling, I speak like this. Look, this old kind of like grand dame elf, and she smoked a big long candy cane cigarette and had a massive wig, and I think there is joy in both playing characters in which you can have catharsis, but also characters that are just so far away from who you are.
Yeah.
The first character I ever played as an actor was, I think I was 7 years old, and I played the dame in my school pantomime. I played Jack's mum in Jack and the Beanstalk. So
At 7?
From day one, I've always been dressing up in drag.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah. Has your time with the hobby changed your outlook on it?
Massively. My time with Dungeons and Dragons has just massively shifted the way that I just see improvisation, but also understand it as an art form, and appreciate it not just as a piece of performance, but as a piece of like complete escapism. It's like a secret club for some people. Like, did you play Dungeons and Dragons? I do too. And then suddenly, someone who's played a game for like 4 years with their mates And you go, yeah, don't tell anyone about it, but it's just something that I'm really passionate about. And there are more people who play Dungeons and Dragons than you think.
Oh, so many. And I feel like it's not really a secret anymore. It's like, it's cool now.
Yes, and also it doesn't need to be cool. It's what do we associate with cool? Like, I love being a nerd with my friends. I love going to like my mate's house, and we do these like escape room games that you get in a little box, and we just kind of like, you know, got to solve codes and do stuff. It's wanting to find interesting ways of engaging with your friends that just isn't going out and drinking.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that more and more in society, that we just want to play. As adults, I think we are conditioned by society to lose that desire to play.
So true.
It's frowned upon. And now I feel like we're claiming that back a little bit. And we're claiming it back with games, and we're claiming it back with Dungeons and Dragons. It doesn't have to be D&D. It can be whatever tabletop game you want to do. Like, you play Monopoly, it's escapism.
Yeah.
You play Risk, it's escapism. Like, people want the opportunity to do that. And actually, some of the greatest experience you probably have with your family are those games when you're back at Christmas, engaging in play. Being able to play games and combining those two passions is, why would you not kind of bring the board game, well, the tabletop game that you like, bringing it into a setting that is like even more visceral than imagining it in your head?
Yeah. And also, I think for me, it's given me an entirely different perspective on what a game is. For many years, I thought a game is, here are the rules, here is the start, here is the end, and it's usually set in those confined parameters, and it's usually not over a period of many weeks, months, years. And D&D completely, it's unlike any other game that I've experienced or played.
You can't win.
No, and that's actually wonderful.
I mean, you can win.
You can win, but also you can, like you said, you can turn against the party, or you can do something unexpected, and then you're surprising everyone. Other people surprise you. It's just, it's really, I think it's something more than a game to me. I don't really class D&D as a traditional game. It's something that kind of transcends that in a good way.
It's a lifestyle, man. It's
a lifestyle.
It's just a vibe.
Absolutely.
D&D's a vibe.
Next question.
Did your knowledge of D&D and its themes help you with this role?
So, like I said earlier, I like to separate them very much.
Yes.
Having said that, though, yes, it does help, because now I have more context about when you say, when terms are thrown out like a paladin, a cleric, you know, whatever, a wizard, or, you know, what we were joking about today about the difference between a wizard, a sorcerer, and a warlock, which distinctions which I never made in the past, and it gives you that. For me, it gives me the wider framework. Yeah. So yes, I suppose it helps me indirectly, though. For me personally, I like to separate the two out, and D&D is more. I would get the experience more when I'm playing it as a consumer and a lover of the actual game, then enjoying the acting and the D&D mechanics. As an actor, as an actor, more useful for the framework, but for the story, I still approach that very actor-like. Yeah, you know what I mean?
When we were asked to be a part of this game, we didn't say yes because of a lot of the qualities which a lot of people will play it for. You know, look, we won't. We took it because the characters are interesting, because the world
and the story. Yeah.
Do you remember the conversation we had when we were brought through the world? Not even the game, the world before the game. The amount of like lore, of stuff of like, this is what happened before you even play the game.
Yeah. And then you're like, shit.
Oh my God, there's so much stuff here that you're aware of, but you then almost have to throw out, because you get given this information and then you just have to play the truth in front of you. Because our job as performers is to play the truth of a scenario. That's it. There are other things that are always going to inform our knowledge of it. You're right, understanding the methodology of how this game will be interacted with. At what point are we going to be saying these words? In what context are we saying those words? What's the surrounding? But you don't have to know the game for that.
No.
It's really useful to be aware of it, but also practically irrelevant when it comes to the playing of the moment. It's not going to make my performance as Rickard better because I know how to play the game.
Absolutely.
Because you didn't know, in other games that you've done, you weren't aware of how they were played, and that doesn't make your performance any less rich, because it's an appreciation of the character. It's just nice to know.
It's nice to know, yeah. And for me, I've enjoyed getting to know it gradually, since I got cast in Baldur's Gate 3 back in 2019, I certainly didn't, I mean, first of all, I didn't know for the first year that it was Baldur's Gate 3. And once I found out that it was based in Dungeons and Dragons, my first thought wasn't, I'm going to go and Google D&D. Thank God I didn't do that, because I would have been like, oh God, there's so much information. But it's been fun really building on the knowledge just little by little by little by little. And now I know a little bit more than I did.
I think what was a lot more useful was going back and doing some work on the world of Solasta, like Crown of the Magister, going and seeing like what that world,
what came before.
Yeah, that's more important to us, is going,
yeah,
when we're working in this medium, it is absolutely understanding the medium that we're working in. It's great to be able to pull on all those experiences. We are, of course, all of us are products of our own world experiences, and that's great to pull on that. But really, there is a simplicity to performance.
Yeah.
And it's actually being aware of stuff, forgetting about it, and just playing the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Next question. When you think about what makes D&D feel like D&D to you, what are the things that really matter?
I'll tell you what doesn't matter.
Yeah, go for that approach.
Winning doesn't matter.
Winning doesn't matter.
You want to, I think you want to win a fight. But I think you don't need to be the best. You don't need to min-max. I think actually the most important thing for Dungeons & Dragons is the story that you tell. That matters. That idea of being an active agent in a story that is both about success and failure. And I imagine in this, there are people who, why wouldn't you? You can save scum if you want, probably, to try and get the outcome that you want. But actually, there is kind of like joy in things going quite badly, as I've said before.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm, a masochist because I like failure, but that matters. It matters, like having fun with your friends, or telling an interesting story, or allowing yourself to recontextualize the world around you by taking your experiences and putting them into this video game. Allowing yourself to escape for one moment from the horrors of the world around you, or at least find some joy where you wouldn't find it. Like, that's what matters. Not the, oh God, I add up wrong all the time.
Oh yeah.
I add up wrong. I don't add my modifiers. I don't add my proficiency. Sometimes I
roll the wrong dice.
And you're like, oh, who cares? It's like, it is important sometimes, and it's really great when you can play a game like Solasta 2, when a lot of that stuff is done for you.
Yeah,
you
very
roll
helpful.
it and it's telling you, well, this is going to add these for you. When you're playing it live, sometimes you're going to screw it up. So there's always a joy to it refining that experience for you. But really, it's the story. It's the story in being around friends and
being like a team player. I think
it is
really harnessing the power of the team and seeing where that's going to take you, maybe for better or worse. Yeah,
I'm a wizard in my campaign, and so I have a lot of bad stats. So I need to build a team, and so that's kind of, I'm fascinated to see what people do when they build a Colwell family. Like, you can make, are you going to make a cleric? Are you going to make a paladin? You need to make a relatively balanced party. I'm sure there are going to be weirdos who are out there.
You need to, but you don't have to.
No, you don't have to. Also, you can give everyone the same voice, which I think is crazy.
That's true.
Isn't that neat?
Yes.
I think that what's great about this game is it's taken a lot of the infinite rules of D&D in some ways, and it's streamlined them into an experience that is almost offering more opportunities by them streamlining it. And I think that's the coolest thing, where you could have some of the actors with, you could have just two actors in a full
talking, yeah.
Which would be, it's, as an acting exercise anyway, seeing that is kind of crazy. But, we're very lucky. We just play one character. But it's going to be very weird when we see people playing with it's going to be us having a conversation with someone who's also playing the four other characters.
Yeah.
It's fun. I can't wait to see people playing around with the systems, breaking it, trying to kind of do the weird stuff with it, because
that's the fun of it, isn't it? Finding the little hidden nuggets, and also the possibilities are endless. And that's what I didn't realize about D&D based games, that it really is just finding a way to solve a problem in the most inventive manner possible.
Yes.
And it actually makes you think outside the box, and it's actually very useful as an exercise, like a cognitive exercise. Next question, please. So it's you or me?
My
Go
turn.
on.
D&D is such a specific experience at the table. How does it feel when you see that translated faithfully into a game like Solasta 2?
I think for me as a relatively new D&D player, it's a lot about what you were saying. A lot of it is automated for you. So for me, that removes the barrier to entry, the barrier to entry, because I think if I hadn't had this experience that I have as an actor in the D&D space, if you were to come to me and say, "Hey Dev, do you want to start playing this D&D? And here's the rules and stuff, and here's how you play it," I would be maybe a bit intimidated.
Yeah.
But the fact that this experience can be translated into a video game that does a bit of the heavy lifting for you, while staying, faithful to the rules of D&D and the fundamentals of D&D, for me, sort of takes the pressure off. And I think that's great. And I think that means that a lot of people can enter the world of D&D with... Usually, yeah.
No, I just think that the immersive nature of playing a video game enhances the rule set. It's difficult sometimes when you're playing D&D to feel truly immersed in it. You have amazing places like where we are now that offer the opportunity for players to be as immersive as possible. You could be in a room and they could have music, and you can have if all of your players are really, really engaged in it, and the mood lighting's right, and you really are all in that moment, there's something just really electric about it. But I think that the one thing about a video game is it is truly immersive. You have the music, you have the characters, you have the world, you have this sense of place and scale that does the work for you, as well as when it rolls a dice, it's going to add your modifiers and stuff like that. So it does, like you said, remove that barrier to entry, make it seem, take away the fear that you might have. I know lots of people who've got into D&D as a result of playing D&D adjacent games. That would be a great joy, is if someone who's never even touched it before plays Solasta 2 and goes, "Oh, actually, the 2024 D&D rule set's pretty neat.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. I think I can go and play that with my friends."
Exactly. And this is not what I thought it was, or this is not as intimidating as I thought it was, because I think I was very intimidated by D&D because it's vast. It's been around for so many years. It's huge, really. And yeah, that takes away a bit of that. And at the same time, you are master of your own destiny. I mean, how cool is it to be in control? Your choices are shaping the game in real time.
It feels like tactical adventures are the DM. They're the ones who've created the world. They're the ones that are guiding you on the story, and it's not railroading you. It's offering you opportunities for play. They are positioning you in a playground of possibility. The possibilities aren't endless, but they are very wide-reaching. And we've been seeing a lot of the features that they're adding to this game, and it's like, that's what they want. They want you to be curious.
Yeah.
They're putting little kind of carrots on a stick and saying, have a little taste, see what's over there. And I think that's what people want sometimes. They don't just want endless possibilities. They want something that feels curated and like not necessarily like impossibly dense, something that they can enjoy with a great, great passion, but not actually just seem so difficult to, you can go anywhere. It's like, no, you can't go anywhere, but you can go pretty much anywhere within something that's a lot more manageable.
Absolutely. And we kind of saw that ourselves in the character creator, which feels so vast.
Yes.
But yet curated at the same time.
That's EA, baby. That's
incredibly realistic. I was blown away by the realism of that, honestly. Yes. I was just like, you can see me just this close to the screen, just being like, is that real?
I'm really happy that I gave you a big tattoo.
I loved it, but mine was better. Next question.
And dare I say, last question.
What would you say to someone who doesn't know much about D&D or maybe looking at getting into the hobby?
Get in, losers, we're going shopping. No,
yes.
I would say fear is a thing that can really hold you back. I totally get why you wouldn't want to, because it just seems something that is so not in your comfort zone. What's the worst that could happen?
It's a game.
You have fun.
You have fun.
I do think that games like this are a wonderful gateway into the hobby. I think there's a fear in the role play aspect of it. There is the fear of
So true.
embarrassing yourself in front of other people. You don't need to role play. The character sheet gives everything for you. But I think a game like Solasta 2 can offer you an opportunity to see what the rules are, to see how the game works. And then if you want to, dip your toe into actual live play and see what that's like. You know, it's very easy to see a cipher do the work for you to see if it's something you want to do, because you can't really embarrass yourself. And there is, I get it, like even as a professional performer, I get embarrassed because I think, am I going to be rubbish? Are you going to judge me for it? I mean, don't.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If you're playing with a group of friends, they're not going to mind. And I know a lot of people that don't even role play. They just allow the story to happen. And it's like, right, I roll this, I attack. I don't have to quip every time I attack, you know?
Yeah.
Take the leap. Take the leap. It is really worth it. And it's Dungeons and Dragons has changed my life for the positive. It has allowed me to look at myself and ask myself uncomfortable questions in a safe environment with friends. It has allowed me to examine some very, very deep topics in a way that is adjacent to real life. And it has allowed me to get through therapy a little bit better, because actually I'm doing it with friends, and it's about placing aspects of myself into another character and thinking about it in a safe way with math.
With math. Yeah, I think as a relatively new player, I would say, just go for it. D&D, if you had told me 10 years ago that this is kind of what my career at the moment would be based around, I'd be like, no way, I don't even know what that is. And now, similar to you, it's become such a central thing in my life, and I would love to explore more of it. And I think you're right, games like Solasta 2 are the gateway. And for me, it's completely, playing games like this has completely removed the intimidation factor, which I certainly felt when I was presented with Dungeons and Dragons as a concept. I mean, I think everything that you said was just spot on. So I think just enjoy it. I think whenever you have a moment of, should I get into this? Should I play this? Especially with D&D, because it is fundamentally, it's a game. It's supposed to be fun. Just try it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Got nothing to lose.
You really don't have anything to lose.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, that's fine.
It's okay. It's not for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for sitting down and chatting with me about
good chat.
Yeah, it was a good chat. Yeah. And thank you at home for watching
tuning in.
Yeah, for tuning in. We hope that you have enjoyed it. You've taken a bit away from it. And we hope that if you like this, then you maybe can experience a little bit more of us in Solasta 2.